when you click on this login, SAP login, you see a web-based login. Okay. I'm using this login BPC user 6, and this is how I load BPC 10. Right, and this is your welcome page. Okay, right, this is when you start BPC, you see this page. Okay, we're going to talk about this in more detail. Okay, but let us see what is the course. What are the contents of a program, right? Training program. We'll come back to this. Let me just minimize it for now. Yeah. See, what we're going to cover is, do you have an idea of these SAP registered courses? 420, 430, 440?
No, I don't know about them.
You don't know about that, right? Okay, no problem.
The only thing I know is, for example, 420 is the NetWeaver version.
Yes, NetWeaver version, correct. Okay, there are versions.
430 is the copy, and 440 is the consolidation, right?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
440 is the consolidation.
Exactly, consolidation. Okay. 440 is for consolidation.
That's it.
That's it. Okay, right. So yes, there are two parts to our course, isn't it? Using BPC for planning and how we use BPC for consolidation, financial consolidations. Very good. Okay, so 440 is all about consolidation. Then what is 420 and 430? Now, 420 is all about administration. Right? It's how we configure BPC. So it's like setting up the environment, the dimensions, the models. Right? So how do we set everything up? And 430 is all about reporting. Right? Yeah. So have you come across these books? These are the PDF files. So when you start off, right, you got to have 420. Right? We are going to share a couple of documents when you start the training. Okay. See, this is BPC 420. Okay, and when you see this version 96, you know it is BPC 10. Okay, if you're looking at course version 95, then you're looking at the previous version, which is 7.5. Okay, right, so it's course 96, right, and these are like SAP registered courses, right? So we're going to use this as a guide. We're going to use this PDF as a guide, right? And I can share this document, right? So we'll be using this as we move on in our course. Yeah, BPC 420, and as you can see, it is all about administration, right? So what does this administration contain? And what do the other books contain? Say 430 and 40. 430 is all about reporting. Right? And this is also course version 96. Okay? Yeah. So looking at the content, right, we're going to talk about loading transaction data. Now, you must have come across transaction data, isn't it? And master data. Can you just tell me briefly, like the differences between transaction data and master data? But have a look at these documents first. See, I'm going to share a document called sales transaction data. Okay, and here is your master data. Okay, this is the master data, right, of various dimensions. Okay, and here you have your sales transaction data, right? So have you come across transaction data and master data in the past?
Yes. Yes, I have.
You have, right? Okay, so now,
Yes.
so so this is like actual data. You can call this as actual data.
Actual data. Okay.
And yeah, actual data, right? So what we our objective is to load this transaction data so that we can understand these numbers. Correct? Correct? See, if you observe closely, these are sales details. Okay, what is external sales? What is external sales of store one of a particular product, dog, dry puppy, okay, and for a particular period. Okay, we are assuming this is January 2008. If we scroll down, okay, we see 208. We are assuming this is February 2008. Okay, and so on. Right, so we're just assuming this is March. 308 is March 2008. So, Johan, to load this transaction data into BPC, don't you think we need these dimensions?
Sure.
Yeah, we need to create these dimensions.
Yes.
Yeah, these would be your dimensions, right? So let us create a data source dimension, a category dimension, account dimension, so on, right? So these are your dimensions, correct? So if this is existing in BPC, this data would fit smoothly, right? It's something like mapping. You are able to map all this data into BPC. You can map all this data into BPC, right? If you have a dimension. Okay, right. Now see, let us observe and compare master data and transaction data, right?
Okay.
Now see, this is EXT sales. So if you see to the bottom of the transaction data, it's all EXT sales. Everything that is related to your external sales, correct? Now you see this account being repeated again and again, right? Every line, right? But if you look in your master data, you go to the account dimension, you see EXT sales is only once. It's recorded only once, right? So do you feel that master data is just once and it's unique?
Yes, I understand.
But over here in transaction data, because it is recorded, external sales is recorded for the entire period. Maybe you are collecting the data for the whole year, January, February, March. So this account is being used, isn't it? Okay, fine. Now, I just want to talk about, see, these are the dimensions. Then these would be called your members, right? External sales. Yeah. So, so let us look at these dimensions in detail. Okay, I'm going to explore the other sheets. Okay, next sheet you've got entity dimension. You got your category dimension. Right? So out of all these dimensions, I just want to understand what are the mandatory ones. When you create any model, okay, what are the mandatory dimensions that you need, right? So there are a couple of mandatory dimensions. But before we jump into that, dimensions in detail, let us just talk about this, right? What we see when we log into the BPC, right? This is your screen, right? Here it shows your user ID. You've logged in using this ID, okay? And what are the frequently used buttons? Okay, right? Here you see a couple of options here. Here there are various options. Okay, so let me just show you what is the function of each option. Right. Now here at the bottom, do you see environment RAM? Okay. This is to indicate which environment you are presently in. Okay, so if I click on this, it shows us all the available environments. Right. So there are different users and they've created their own environments. Correct? Okay, so we're going to start off by creating Joan's environment. Right? Okay, so let's begin. So how do we create your own environment so that you have your dimensions, you have your models, okay? But in real projects, right? See, step one is to create your own environment, and in order to do that, okay, what are the steps? Right? So creating an environment, let's go to planning and consolidation administration. Okay, so this tab opens up. Are you with me, Joan?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
I can follow you.
yeah. So let me know if you want me to repeat any step. Okay, if you.
Okay, I'll let you know. Everything is very clear.
Okay, so what we do is we click on manage all environments. Okay, and we select a standard environment where everybody makes a copy. Now you see how this VJ, RNA, Mahi, right? All these guys made a copy from environment shell.
Okay.
Okay. Now to create Joan's environment, I'm going to select environment shell and click on copy. Environment shell is a default. You get all your structures from here. All your dimensions, default dimensions, models. Okay. So what we do is we just type JU and say environment. Okay, just an ID with a description. Okay, so let's just call it a planning environment. Right, and we deselect these boxes. Right, so when we deselect these, we are not copying data in models. We're not copying the web documents and documents. Right. So what are these three things? These three things are sample data that SAP provides us. Okay. So if you don't want the sample data, you deselect these. Okay.
You're just copying the master data.
Correct.
Okay.
Just a shell. Just a shell. We're just copying the shell without any master data, without any transaction data. Just a shell. Okay, right? Because we have our own data, isn't it? We have our transaction data to be loaded. We have our master data. Okay, we'll use these. Right? We're just copying the shell. right? So no data. So when I click on copy, so it starts, right? You can view the details, right? It says start. It's copying each dimension.
That's the definition, not the members, but also the members.
Yes, yes. So it will take some time. Okay, it takes time, right? Because it's copying the entire structure, isn't it, from environment shell. So, right, so if you see the details, right, it's still copying.
Is it copying the structure of the dimensions, or is it copying also the members of the dimension?
No members.
No members. Okay.
Okay, see, members also. Members also.
Members
I'm
also.
going to show you. I'm going to show you these dimensions: input currency, time dimension, right? It copies the structure along with the members. Okay, so it goes on, right? Then it moves to the next dimension, right? Okay, so let's just minimize this. So what will be our initial classes? Initial classes, we are going to talk about loading sales and finance transaction data into SAP BPC, right? We're going to load this transaction data so that I can generate reports, different reports of which is my best store. So if you observe this store 1 data, then you've got store 2, store 3 and so on, right? Different stores. Now I want to compare the sales store wise. That is possible. If I want to compare the sales product wise, and you see which is my best selling product, top 10 selling products, I can analyze this data and I can come to the conclusion, right, which product is selling more. I can look at the months, which months I'm doing more sales. Is it January, February or March? Correct? So all this is possible, reporting is possible when I load this transaction data into BPC. Okay. Next set of data is your finance data. Yeah, okay. Again, you've got your dimensions, right? And if you look at this account, right, you've got EXT sales, not just external sales, but you have other items also. Third party, raw materials, direct labor. Okay, so these are nothing but your expenses. Okay, we're going to load this data also and see what are the finance related. All these are your finance related data. Okay, sales related data and finance related data. Now to load this data into BPC, right, we need a model. Correct? We're going to load sales data into a sales model and finance data into a finance model. Alright? So transaction data, we can say, finally we can say transaction data goes into a model. Model is used to store transaction data. Okay? And our dimensions store master data. Okay, can we come to this conclusion? Yeah, a simple way of remembering.
Yes, it's simple.
Yeah. Okay. So let us try to understand what are these mandatory dimensions. Okay, account, entity, category. What are the mandatory dimensions for any model? what are your mandatory dimensions? When you're creating a model, okay, you require certain dimensions. Okay? You need to create an account dimension. Okay? You need to create a category dimension, entity dimension, currency, time. Okay, now I'm saying that these are your mandatory dimensions, and if any one is missing, right, system will give an error and system will say, Jay, you got to create one dimension is missing. Okay, let me show you this message. Let's see how's the copying done, and you see Juan's environment, planning environment, JU. Yeah?
Okay.
So that box is gone, right? The copying, right? It's done with the copying. So to shift from one environment to another, let's just click on the button here. Let's click on the I'm logged into Ram's environment. This is Ram's environment, so I'm going to click on this, and I change environments by selecting and clicking on connect. So this way I am entering Juan's environment. Okay, Juan's environment. I click on planning and consolidation, administration. Right? This way a tab opens up over here. Okay, now see here I'm going to click on models and I'm going to click on new. I'm just creating a sample one. Okay, if I'm creating a sample AAA and I select financial, I'm going to come back to this steps once more later. Okay, I just want to show you what are your mandatory dimensions. Right? So it says if you want to create a model, right, a sample model, you require these dimensions. Right? So you cannot proceed to the next step unless you've included the mandatory dimensions. Right? So for your sales model, if you're creating a sales model, what all dimensions do you require? Okay, out of all these, which ones are your mandatory ones? Okay, we know that the account is mandatory, category is mandatory, entity, currency, and time.
And also currency is always mandatory. Currency.
It's always, it is always mandatory. Always mandatory. See, if you
in any kind of model.
Yeah. If it is a financial model, if it is a financial type, if it is standard, currency is not mandatory.
Okay, I see.
Okay, only account, category, entity, and time. Okay. Now, if you're using it for financial stuff, okay,
You need the currency.
yeah, currency. If you select consolidation, you got more. You got audit, you got group, intercompany, subtables. In addition, okay, these are all addition. Okay, now let's go back. Okay, let's financial. Right. Now I select account here. Now I cannot add another account dimension. See, here I've got IC account 1, right? System gives an error. You cannot add more than one account dimension.
Okay.
Now I add entity. I cannot add another entity dimension. If you have R entity, it gives me an error. It says you cannot do that. Okay, because system would get confused, right? Okay, these mandatory dimensions you can have only one of each, right? But Look at these user defined ones. Okay, user defined. User defined, I can add any number. There is no limitation.
Mhm.
Okay, I can add product 2, product 3, I mean, any number of user defined dimensions. Okay, now
Okay.
let us try to understand these dimensions.
Mhm.
Right? I'm going to click on new. I just cancelled it. Right? I did not create the AAA model.
Mhm.
I cancelled it, and now I'm clicking on a new dimension. So if you notice the types over here, these are your existing types. You can create a dimension which is account type, category type, audit type, entity type, group type, and so on. Okay, user defined. Let us try to understand what would be an account type model. I mean dimension. Sorry. What does it contain? Okay, these dimensions would contain master data. And let us see each dimension. The account dimension would contain your chart of accounts. Right? So it is going to contain all the items from your financial statements, profit and loss account, and balance sheet. Right? Whatever are your income items, expenses, asset, and liabilities. Right? These are the four types. See, generally you would find these four types in your financial statements, isn't it, John?
Yes. Sure.
Could be an income, could be an expense, could be an asset, could be a liability.
Mhm.
Right? Right. So, so these first two items are from your profit and loss statement.
Mhm.
These two are from your balance sheet. Right? So if you look at our master data and we go to account, you would find net income, pre-tax income. Okay? These are all your income related items,
Mhm. Okay.
expense related, asset related items. Okay? Right?
Mhm.
Inventory, cash. Yeah? And here you find your liabilities.
Okay.
Okay? Accounts payable.
Mhm.
Okay. So if you observe your IDs, these IDs are unique. You don't see any repetition. EXT sales, there's only one member. EXT sales, no repetition.
Mhm.
Uh, Here you see salaries, category 1, category 2, traveling and entertainment expenses, category 1, category 2, but no repetitions. Yeah. BPC will not allow you, right? If you create another member for EXT sales, it will give an error.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about these also. What are these? And what is this parent H1? What is the significance? Okay. But if you notice, this is a master data, and you create this master data. You create this master data in a project by studying how the business operates. Correct?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. So this will change from client to client. Okay. Say suppose if you look at my project, the one which I worked on, my master data looks a little different from this. Okay. If you are assigned to a project and your master data would be different. Your IDs could contain numbers. So GL numbers, you could have say 10000 to indicate it is a net income.
Mhm.
100001 to indicate pre-tax income. Right? You could have numbers instead.
Numbers. Okay.
Okay, so it changes. Okay, so I just want to say that master data could vary, right?
Okay.
But
Okay.
it contains income items, expense items. Right? What does your other dimension contain? What would your category dimension contain? Right. See, we are loading the transaction data. We know that we are working with actual data. We are working with actual data, right? This is like historical data. This is previous year's data. Now, based on the previous year's data, I would like to analyze, and I would like to come up with a planned version. Correct? See, if I look at my transaction data, okay, I know that store 1 sold this much. This is the amount. It could be in some currency, right? US dollars, INR, Indian rupees, Chinese yens, right? This is your actual data, correct? Now, I don't want to overwrite this, right? I don't want to overwrite this, but I want to create a planned version,
Okay.
right? So I would say under plan, okay, I'm planning for the next year. So this is 2008. What if I'm planning for 2009? I'm saying that the sales is good and I sold 300,000. Okay, so instead of overwriting here, instead of overwriting 300,000, I create another version. I say the planned version. Okay, and I use that to store the values. Okay, so if it is 80,000 here for this product, the planned version say 90,000. Okay, and so on. This is the way I can plan. Correct? Now say this one reduced. The sales dropped from 30,000 to 25,000. Okay, it is possible to save these values. Okay, in a different category. Right? So I'm not overwriting them. I can manipulate this data without overwriting this actual category. I save it in a different category. Okay, and in BPC you've got various categories. You can save it under budget, forecast, right? Okay. So category is used to save the data in various versions, okay, actual, plan, budget, and so on. Right. Now here entity dimension is used to store your various stores. Okay, and if you see your entity dimension, you've got various stores. 24 stores. Store 1 to store 24. And this is a global company. You've got some stores are in the US, on US, some of them are in Europe. Okay, yeah. So you have your stores, different stores saved in your entity dimension. And like I said, master data changes. Okay, you've got different master data for different projects. So in various projects, what is stored in the entity dimension? You could have regions. Okay, so you could have countries. You can say India, US, different entities. You can have cost centers as your entity dimension. So could you define cost center, John?
It's a department of the company, something like that.
Something like that. Exactly. In my client, manufacturing company, like a plant, they had various departments. Okay, say air conditioning. Okay, it had one number. Okay, say 11111 is air conditioning. Say 2222. That GL refers to generation of power generation department. Okay,
Mhm.
so
Okay.
various cost centers, right? So,
Yes. Mhm.
right, so you can operate at a cost center level, you can plan at that level, you can plan region wise, you can plan store wise. Okay,
Okay.
and here currency, we use currency to understand. Yeah, these are in local currencies.
Mhm.
Okay, instead of having INR, USD, right, we're just maintaining a standard local currency. Here we have RPT currency. Now if you look at BPC, right, here there is RPT currency as well as
Okay.
input currency. Right? Here in RPT currency we see this LC, local currency, right? But we see the whole list of existing currencies in input currency. All the available default
Okay. Yeah, it's
currencies.
available. Okay.
So this one is used as a reference. This
Okay.
one is used as a reference. Okay, and for example, when you look at the entity dimension, here there is a currency one, right? It shows which currency are you operating at. US dollar, because it is in the US. If it's in the Europe, this store is using CHF.
Okay.
Store 7 uses GBP, right? So these currencies, it would check whether it exists over here. Do you have CHF here?
It's your brain.
Yeah, it should be CHF. Do we have GBP here? GBP
Mhm.
and US dollars. Okay? So this is always used as a reference. Okay, right.
Okay.
Now let's move on to the next dimension. You've got your time dimension, right? And you you don't find it here. You don't find it here, time dimension, because it's a default one. Okay, there's no difference between J's time dimension and Juan's time dimension, right? It's a universal. Right? We use the existing one. This is copied from the environment shell. Okay. So when you click on it, you see various periods from Jan 2006 to 2017. Right? Right?
Okay.
You've got various quarters, quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, annually. Yes. This is the
Yeah.
default. Okay, this is the default. SAP has provided from 2006 to 2017, but you can always add. You can always add 2018 dot Jan 01.
Okay. Right.
Okay, you can always add.
It's
Right?
the
Yeah. Okay, but you cannot. There cannot be any duplicates.
mhm.
Okay, you cannot add 2006.01 again. Okay, it gives an error. Okay, all the it should be unique. Right. So I'm just closing it, and right, right. These are your mandatory dimensions. Right? Category, account, entity, time, reporting currency. Now we need to create these mandatory dimensions. Okay, so let us try to understand the account dimension first. Why do we have these and this one? Okay, so let's understand this and we'll look at creation of the account dimension.
Okay.
Right, so dimensions, I'm going to click on new. Okay, and I'm going to click Juan's account dimension. Okay, and let me give you a description. It is account. Okay, so when I click on create, system is going to create properties that are specific to account type dimension.
Okay.
Right, See, if you observe, this is, you've got account type, scaling, and rate type. Now, you look in cat entity, you got separate properties, unique properties, right? Category has got its own properties. Data source, okay, another property, right? What are these properties? How are they used? Right? Properties can be used in filtering. Okay. Now, when I'm looking at a report, okay, when I'm looking at a report, I can filter it. I can say I want to look at only income related report, right? I don't want to see anything else. So I can say account type is equal to INC. Okay. When I keep this condition, right, my report will display only these items, right? And I can use it in my, oops, I'm so sorry. Filtering and reports, and I can use it in logic scripts. I can say apply this logic like say increase these items by 10%, right? Increase the value by 10% for only income related items. That is possible. Okay, so I can use it both in my reporting as well as in my logic scripts. And what happens in properties, you've got system defined properties and user defined. Okay, so let's go back to, right, see, system has created its own properties automatically.
Okay.
Right, so why does it create these? When you select the type account, automatically system understands and creates these things.
Okay.
Now, next, let us try to understand these referential integrity and the hierarchies. Okay, let's go back to the master data. Master data, you see a hierarchy, right? Let's create a hierarchy and let's call it H1. Right. Now, if you want to create another property, you can do so. You can create by adding a new property. Okay. You want to create another hierarchy, you can click on add. Okay. You can edit. You can delete stuff. You can. Right? Once you're done, you click on the members view. Right. So this is to shift between. See, I'm going to save the changes. Save. Okay. I can shift between the structure view and the members view. Right. In the members view, I'm going to paste the master data from this Excel file. From this Excel file, I'm going to copy and paste this master data. Right? But before I do that, I'm going to select this referential integrity. Right? See, referential integrity is not mandatory, right? But I can select referential integrity. What is this referential integrity? Referential integrity is used in few dimensions. Referential integrity, you don't find referential integrity in all your dimensions, just your account, category, entity, and intercompany. Okay, just these 4 dimensions. You take any other dimension, you won't find this option. Okay, Okay, let me just close this for now, and let us open, say, flow dimension. Let's go to the structure. This is the members view. Members view, we'll go to the structure. No referential integrity here.
Okay.
Correct? If you look at RPT currency, structure, no referential integrity here. Okay? Right? So we just have it for the Yuan's account type dimension. Okay? What is this? We are telling the system, okay, to check our master data, automatically give us any error message. If you see anything, right, just give an error message. It is going to compare, right, this rate type. It is going to compare this rate type, AVG and end. Right? It is going to compare and see whether it exists in a default rates dimension called R underscore account. Okay, so let's just save this. Right, this is a warning message. It says dimension needs to be processed. Right? So we'll do that. We'll process the dimension. Right, just a warning. Okay. Right. So you see the color. The color is different. You see yellow. Yeah. So what is this default? This is a default rates account. Okay, and it should contain this. Okay, AVG and N. Right, AVG and N. But here we don't have END. Instead we've got CLO. Correct? So you will find an error message. Okay. Let us copy the master data. So I'm going to check the columns, okay, whether the columns match. So we have hierarchy here. So let's change the hierarchy. Let's push it front. Then you got your account type, scaling. So let's bring scaling to the front. And let's select all the cells.
So you don't have to change your file, just move the dimensions in the model, move the column.
I'm sorry, Ron.
I mean, you don't need to change the file. You just move the columns on the application.
Correct, correct. I just move the columns and now I do the paste. So otherwise there would be errors, isn't it? Yeah? Yeah. So otherwise I need to copy it one at a time. I need to copy ID and description first, then this, then this. So I don't want to make any errors when I'm pasting it, correct?
Yeah.
So I paste it in this cell. Okay, between ID and the number 1, I paste it in this cell. Okay, so this looks good. Right? Now, if there's any error, right? Say suppose you have your EXT sale. If I repeat this EXT sales, it won't work. Right? Right? It has to be unique. EXT sales. Yeah, so it says it's not unique. So no repetitions. Right? All your members, they're all unique. Right. Next step is to process this dimension. Right? What happens in process is you find it in BW. So all this will be saved into BW. Okay, let's save and process it. Its system would ask, do you want to take this environment offline? So default, I say no. Okay, because if I select yes, system will go offline. And I need to go into the settings and bring it back online. Okay, so as a practice, right, we select no. So data is written into BW, and I look at this error message. It says invalid value rate type within the dimension member total liabilities. Okay, if I look at total liabilities, it has E&D. Right? And E&D, does it exist? Does it exist in your R account dimension? Let us say there is no E&D, correct? That's why the error. Right? So now to overcome this, let us just create E&D here. And just copy the same thing here, right? Save and process. I say no, I don't want to take my environment offline. Okay. Now what I do is I process Juan's account dimension. I can click on process here, or I can go inside and click on save and process. Same thing. I say I don't want to take this environment offline. Right. So you with me, John?
Yes, and he just hold on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm here. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. So now when I
I
was
had to
saying
take a
it
call.
happens, yeah, I know, it happens. Yeah, it happens. Right. So I was just talking about the process button. What happens when you do a process? Okay, when you do process, all these items are saved into BW, right? So the front end is BPC, the back end
Okay.
is BW.
Okay.
Yeah. So you look at the architecture, if you look at the technical architecture, how is BPC installed, you would find that this NetWeaver, because we're looking at NetWeaver, we're not looking at the Microsoft version, isn't it? We're looking at the NetWeaver version. So it comes along with ECC, BW, right? That's how it's connected.
Okay.
Right? So let me just close this is the master data. This is in your front end. This is in BPC. It is saved in BPC. Let us quickly log into BW. Okay, SAP logon. So this is how I log into BW, right? So I use the same username and password, and this is your GUI, SAP GUI. Now I use a T code RSA1.
Transaction.
RSA transaction code, transaction code RSA1. Now I locate Joan's environment. Okay. Now see, usually you would find it here. It's all under business planning and consolidation. You've got other stuff, right? But everything is under business planning here. Now let us look at where is JU environment. JU underscore environment.
Okay.
We find it here. Okay? This is the technical name and the description of planning environment. Now we've created JU's account dimension, right? So you see different icons. These are your models,
Model.
also called cubes in BW terminology. These are dimensions. So I right click and I say display data for JU account. So I click on field selection for output, and here I can just select. Right, and execute. Right, this way I see my master data.
Okay.
So when I do a save and process here in the front end, it saves it permanently in my backend BW. Correct? So
Yes.
if you see search for EXT sales, you would find it somewhere. EXT sales here. We're looking at this EXT sales. Right? Now see, we are done with the account dimension, and in the coming classes, I'm going to take you through the creation of other dimensions.
Okay.
Okay? Right? So let's do a quick recap.
Just,
We showed you.
just one question there. During the data.
I didn't understand.
A question in that about the data.
Mhm.
I see it has a sign, negative sign, the amount.
Mhm.
Why is it negative?
Why is this negative? Okay, right. So income items, right, and your liabilities, they have these negative signs,
Okay.
right? They have these negative signs. Okay, and your what are the others? Expense items, they don't have a sign.
Okay.
Asset items, they don't have a sign. Right? So
Mm-hmm.
now all these EXT sales would fall under income. Okay, all your assets, right? Yeah,
Uh-huh.
they would have no signs. Okay,
Okay.
why these signs? See, let me tell you why these signs. Okay, now when we load this data, into BPC, right, system is automatically, it'll say, it'll take the difference between income and expense, and it will show you the profit or a loss.
Okay.
You don't have to write a logic. You don't have to tell the system, okay,
Mm-hmm.
take all your incomes minus the expense. Because of
Okay.
the difference in the signs, right, you would find the total.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Correct.
Okay? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I'll come back to this signs. Right? Okay, if you see here, this data and your finance data, and look at these. You'll find a couple of items with the negative sign. Right? So this is just to understand. See, all your expenses, there is no signs. These are all your
Mm-hmm.
expenses.
The income have
Income
negative.
has a
Okay.
negative sign. Hmm? Okay, so what will happen is system will take the difference.
Okay.
System will take the difference and it will compute what is the profit or loss.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Quick recap of what we've done today. I have taken you through the course content. Right? I've shown you the PDF files. Okay, we're going to use this as a guide, 420 as a guide. Do you have this book already, John?
Yes, I have them.
You have them. Wonderful. Okay, so you can keep them handy, and as we go through the training, you can
Okay.
refer to this book. Okay, it's a wonderful book, right? As a guide. So, so what you could do is you can go through the exercises you can go through the exercises, and for example, right, you can go through these tasks, create, right, exercise 1, exercise 2, you can go through these exercises, okay, because we'll be doing a different exercise in the class,
Yes.
and you can go through these on your own. Right? I showed you the content. I said, okay, this is loading of transaction data, okay. We're going to talk about creating stuff, dimensions, models, okay, but first it's your environment. creating stuff, and then I'll fill this page, okay. I'll fill this, what is the contents, the course content, right. This is all the admin part. When you go to reporting, what are the contents of reporting? When you go to consolidation, what are the contents, right? Right? Initially, we are just concentrating on the data load. Right? So I said step 1, create your environment. How do we do that? How did we create Joan's environment? Joan's environment we created by clicking on administration, planning and consolidation administration,
Okay.
then going to the tab, clicking on manage all environments. Okay? And then selecting environment shell and creating a copy of it. Correct? And we call this, say, J's environment. How did I create J's environment? By doing these steps. Right? By doing these steps. Okay. Next, what we did was we understood what are the mandatory dimensions. Okay. And we created the account dimension. Okay. And we saved it. How did we do that? We just copy and pasted the account dimension. Correct?
Right.
Right. Right. So that was, any doubts so far regarding the environment or regarding master data? So we saw how it exists in BW also, isn't it? Right. So what we'll do is we'll meet up the same time tomorrow, and see, I prefer having these regular sessions, I say, from Mondays to Fridays.
Monday to